Hey everybody, so I'm back for another episode review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Season 6, Episode 5, Speak Now or Forever Hold Your Peace. Lord help us. Okay, so they start this episode off with Stormy and Courtney, who are now in the beginning credits. But okay, let's deal with it. So Courtney comes in the door at her warehouse and said, "We're going to have a quick meeting." Clearly, no one knew. Okay? None of the employees, people who should know. So she said, "We just moved into a new warehouse and I just want to see how y'all are feeling and what we can do better." And I can tell you already, I just from those few moments, I automatically knew this was already an unprofessional and probably toxic work environment. Okay? One, you did not tell your employees you were about to have a meeting and you had planned to have one, which means they had no time to really think about what they could say in preparation for a better work environment. Not telling you you're going to have a meeting or things that might be brought up. Hey, this is what we want you to do. I can already tell, but okay. So then Stormy launched into how they need to tighten up, where they are leaving stuff around or it's not organized or something of that nature. And Courtney, just after saying, y'all can tell us even if there's something y'all don't agree with, that we can do better. And then immediately follows it up with, if y'all don't like it, there's the door. I'm dead serious. Okay, toxic work environment, check. Unprofessionalism, check. And I knew that before these lines even came out their mouths. Okay. Threatening your employees and they have been bombarded with a non-emergency meeting and haven't vocally expressed any disagreement with you is some bullshit. Okay? It's some bullshit. And I don't respect y'all. Y'all are ghetto, country, hood rat ninjas who got lucky, okay, and made some money. Yeah, I said it. And if y'all weren't in this ass backwards small town, y'all wouldn't have indoor plumbing. That's the kind of vibe y'all give me, okay? And fuck you on behalf of employees everywhere. All right? So then they want to talk to them about speeding up orders and tell them that when they move slow, they have to give a free gift or something. And that money that, is taken from giving people a free gift or a late, whatever, comes from their raise or something else that could go to the business. Fine. Okay. I understand the math. But you have a small team, Stormy. You're now on TV on purpose, advertising for this business, and the orders are increasing. So you have to increase the workers, not exploit them. Okay? And meanwhile, none of them have said anything that we're seeing in this meeting, and you are talking to them like shit. Fuck you, Stormy, and those bullshit ass tears. I'm trying to figure out how you crying. Ain't nobody said shit back to you. And been threatened to just go and walk out the door. Because we know that people who work hourly can just afford to do that. All right. Then she starts crying about how she should have been around more for her company. No shit. They don't own it. You can't expect employees to feel the same way about a beauty company that you started, where you're making an overwhelming amount of money to the point where you're living on a ranch and they're getting paid by the hour. You're fussing at them and now you're crying. Bitch, get a grip. Okay? Get a grip. And somewhere you fucked up. And now you're blaming employees. Okay? So you can fuck off. And what I really think it is that on social media, people were talking about how they don't get their stuff and how they don't get it fast enough. And this is another form of damage control for Stormy. I'm blaming it on my very small team, who definitely, just from the looks of that meeting, looks like they can handle thousands and thousands of orders on their own within whatever you're paying them. And we know you are not paying them well. Stop it. You're not fooling me. All right. Then the employee in the green hoodie, who apparently is her cousin, was the first one to say something. He talks about how they can run out of stuff, so he'll have to stop doing one thing to cover a bunch of different things. They need more help. I can see that looking at it, honestly. And they probably need to pay more people. And this is why I don't believe in supporting black businesses for the sake of black business. They are still functioning like any other company and or corporation and willing to exploit people in their hours at work, and then as employers do the bare minimum in compensating them for that, and then be upset that this is my dream and they're not helping me along. Hell, you at least get to live your dream. Anyway, then once that guy said something, she challenged him and said, well, there are a lot of two people doing a one-person job. This whole thing was about her. Girl, you could have sent this in an email. Because I am not feeling sorry for you. You and your husband came off as selfish, and you're operating on this very personal basis. You need a manager, is what you need. But you don't want to pay nobody, which is obvious, okay? You're falling short. Firing them won't fix it, okay? Because then you won't have anybody to help train these people, okay? And clearly, you don't know how to train people by the way you are criticizing their performance. Firing them won't fix it. You are failing and falling short. Courtney is talking about, well, I'm thinking about firing people. Fuck y'all. Next, I don't even like them at all. I want them off the show. There has got to be somebody else in Huntsville we can tolerate, because we know it ain't Lewis and Tiffany. Anyway, so Mel is having a business meeting. Take notes. All right, she's thanking her team for their work and their support. Stormy, you especially, take notes. Some people quit because of pay and they found a higher paying job, okay? But more people quit a job because they don't feel appreciated and valued in that workplace. Okay, so whether Mel was doing it for TV or not, her employees' facial expressions seem to demonstrate a level of gratefulness that she appreciates them, and she was willing to say that. And then they launch into business, which is like a real business meeting that everybody knew about, which is why they were around the table with their computers, with their paper, prepared to engage in a meeting. Stormy, not walking into the warehouse being like, okay, I'm going to throw this on them because I don't know how to articulate myself well enough to articulate what needs to be done for this business and how we can get it done, because I really don't have no ideas what to blame other people. So one of her employees said that, look, we released 7th Avenue Beauty, and in just a few months, they reached $1 million in sales. And once again, this looks like an actual business meeting. You know, small details like, you know, chairs for your employees when you're having the meeting. Anyway, so she's going to be able to speak to more high school students, as one of her team told her about starting their own businesses. And that's something apparently she wanted to do, so that they learn how to invest, you know, in their future, so on and so forth. Now, do I think everybody needs to be a business owner? No. Do I think that's possible in a capitalist society? No, it is not. It's not. It wasn't designed that way. Everybody can't get rich and become a business owner. But I do think talking to people about businesses and just the bare basics of financial literacy can be helpful, because I imagine most people want to at least own a home at some point in their life. All right. So Mel was talking to one of her business people / friends, and how she's trying to keep life together for her 4 kids, so it is a little less disruptive with the divorce. She was like, because the divorce was disruptive. So keeping vacations and trips and parties. And her 2 daughters, who are still young, they're about a week apart in terms of their birthdays, not in years, but like in birthdays, obviously. But so she said she's throwing a little skate party for them or whatever. And she did the party. And she said it's something I have to be careful with, because she doesn't want everybody and their energy, i.e. Martell's bullshit, to come. We're going to get to that in a second. So then we have Marceau and Tisha hosting Slutty Vegan. Okay, this is the time when Marceau and Tisha give us just a little something that is not them rehashing their 16, 17 years of marriage and how Marceau just bulldozes her in terms of her ideas. All right, so I know about Slutty Vegan. I've never been there, but I know about it. And it's a chain, a food chain or whatever, for healthy alternative foods. It's owned by a black woman who is originally from Baltimore. She went to Clark, Atlanta, so shouts out to the AUC. They hadn't been to Huntsville before. They got a big crowd for Slutty Vegan, and I guess because Black is one of the only lounges in Huntsville. Tisha starts talking about how they have developed the Holt Plaza. She's talking to the woman who's a representative from Slutty Vegan, how they've developed the Holt Plaza. She was like, I think she was saying Marceau is a commercial realtor, and she's a commercial realtor broker. And I'm like, yet y'all still can't get Scott Manor together, and it's the 6th season. At this point, it's going to be y'all's empty nest house. Like, now that all our kids are out, we decided to buy a very big house and build one, because y'all keep playing. The playroom is going to be for y'all's grandkids at this point. And at the rate y'all are going, I'm not understanding how Mel, who lost half her team, which seems to now be a dead weight, i.e. Martell, can do all of this, and then y'all two together can't even seem to get y'all's home together. It's okay. Anyway, so they want Slutty Vegan to set up a shop there, which I actually think is a good idea, because they already have a brand. Slutty Vegan itself already has a brand and good numbers, and this is also going to help the Scotts too. Fine. Okay, this makes sense. Now this is where we get back to Marcel and Tisha that give us nothing. So Kimmy and Maurice meet up at the Slutty Vegan event, and Kimmy was quick when her food got delivered to let Tisha know, this is our food, we bought it. I'm like, Tisha, y'all was sitting there all that time. Y'all talking about having business with somebody. Y'all don't even act like y'all want to eat their food. But okay. So they start talking about the comeback group. That's another. I was so tired of that. All right. So they said it was better than they thought. And Marceau said, well, how did you think it was going to go? And Maurice was like a comeback group meeting, a big fight. And I was like, yes, facts. So they started talking about Martell and Mel and how they were surprised nothing popped off. If y'all really thought something was going to pop off, then you all should stop creating these environments for bullshit and check Martell in particular when he steps out of line so that it doesn't have to become like that. Okay? Anyway, so Tisha backpedaled. It's not like Martell is bringing anything to the table. That's why he could start picking with Mel about her feet. Because he has nothing to offer and he can't even pass his test. Okay, and I was never a great test taker, but at the point in which you can't pass the test, perhaps you should consider another career, maybe the one you trained for, like a special ed teacher, when you were putting Mel down and saying, well, you was a school teacher before I introduced this idea, so on and so forth. You introduced it, but baby, you could not execute, and it is clear by the results of this divorce. Okay? Deal. So Tisha backpedals by saying, well, this is not just her and Marceau's event, the way she had originally presented it to them and to us. Okay? It's still in the beginning stages. This is our idea. We want you all's feedback. If that was the case, then say that, Tisha. And you should have said that at that meeting, which is why Kimmy and Mel had the questions that they had. Just stop with the BS. So in a confessional, Tisha and Marceau accused Kimmy and Maurice of sounding like the Holts for questioning them about this particular business plan and practice. So apparently, according to them, if you ask questions that they can't answer, then we don't have to take any responsibility. We'll vilify you in a pejorative way, like calling y'all the names of our ex-friends, okay? Y'all are dumb, Tisha and Marceau. Next, Kimmy is someone who is still in breast cancer recovery, all right? Stress is not something that breast cancer survivors need, and it does not help them recover. So all I'm saying is, Kimmy, do not let them guilt you into anything, because you are absolutely right. They are leaning on this idea of community help so that you all don't value your time, okay? Anyway, then we get Martell talking to Marceau. So Martell's asking Marceau about his workout goals. Marceau said he's trying to look like himself in 2018. Fine, I don't care. Marceau is going to help Martell pass the test, or he's going to tutor him in hopes that he'll pass the test. Okay? And he's going to help him with his workout goals. Marceau, I'm starting to see why y'all couldn't understand why Mel wanted a fee. Because I don't think somebody helping you with your workout goals and what it takes to tutor someone for a professional test like this are equal, and that's just me, considering all the Jillian Michaels videos available through Prime Video and things like that, and on YouTube. I just don't think this evens out, but it does help me make a lot of sense of the way y'all make sense around business, or y'all try to draw sense around business. Anyway, so Martell starts calling the comeback group the Core Six. Honestly, if you want to change the name Martell, I hope this catches on, because the Core Six makes a whole lot more sense. Okay? He said he's tired of hearing about the comeback group because they never got anything done. Hashtag facts. Whether that was part of your fault too, Martell, or not, you're right. The Core Six, just change the name so y'all can do something better. Anyway, so Martell manages to bring up Tisha and Mel, because he just can't help himself when that camera comes on. When it ain't on, he got to talk about Mel, because he mad at Mel for leaving him for the way he acted. That's like a 3-year-old mad at their parents for punishing them when they show their ass. Like, that's where he is mentally. Anyway, so he asked, like a girl, when did Mel and Tisha become besties again? First of all, I don't see them as besties. His idea of besties with Tisha and Mel not hating each other enough to the point where they can demonstrate respect for each other and work together without a fight, is his idea of being besties, because he would love for that to continue in toxicity. Because if it continues in toxicity, he can say, see, that's the Mel I was talking about. See, as if somehow her relationship with Tisha is somehow parallel to what's going on in a marriage where you were cheating on her for years at a time. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, so Martell, you brought up Mel because you can't help yourself. Then we have Marceau's punk ass bringing up Malia and Mariah's party and how Mel invited their kids to the party. Okay, well, she didn't invite Marceau. She invited mothers. So, oh, help me, Lord. All right, so this is Mel's party. She is throwing for her children. When she said, okay, first of all, no, for her children. Marceau, this is not the first time we have seen y'all on TV going to each other's kids' events, despite how y'all feel about each other. So quit pretending like you were so shocked too. Y'all definitely did that at that bowling alley that time, so on and so forth. Cut it out. You are giving real girl behavior for somebody who is all into toxic masculinity. So Martell said he's surprised that Mel is doing this. Really? Because the way you continue to act appears to be incredibly emotionally abusive and controlling from what I see. So you shouldn't be surprised that you didn't get invited. Marceau asked what the problem is. He said, maybe, and I was kind of like, he was like, yeah, what's the problem between y'all two? Why can't y'all solve this? Maybe the multiple women he was screwing when they were married. Maybe when he gets on TV and dogs her out every time they say lights, camera, action, okay? The side chick's baby he has on Instagram lives and talking back and forth to his side chick, claiming he's in a relationship with Sheree and then texting her all this other stuff. Cut it out. What you mean what the problem is? There's clearly a problem. All right. And it's always Mel's fault. If there's anything I can't stand about an adult, is when the problem is so clearly you and your behavior, but literally, you can never take responsibility for your behavior. There are people who literally cannot do that. And Martell is one of them. I shouldn't say can't. Refuse to do it. So, it always being Mel's fault, that's a problem. And really, it was reminiscent to me of many of those black men who continue to make babies and not be in their children's lives. And then the excuse for not being in their children's lives is the mother is keeping them away from me. And I'm going to tell you right now, there has never been a black woman conglomerate in which people have gotten together and decided, yes, we're going to keep our children away from the fathers, because life is definitely easier without additional child support, help, and income. Like, quit playing with me. All right. Now, yes, did I grow up in a two-parent household? Yes. Were my parents married for many years? They didn't get divorced till I was grown? Yes. Yes. But the bottom line is, you ain't got to be no genius to know that the fact that this is a pattern throughout the community, it is a reflection of black men and the lack of responsibility that they take. And that has been the narrative for a very long time, especially since the 60s. And this whole idea that the American national state has oppressed black men, and it has. But it has also done so likewise with black women. And blaming black women, okay, the definition of misogyny is not just only a hatred of black women, but to be in a habit of blaming women for men's behavior. So men don't have to take responsibility. And that's one of its core tenets, okay? So that's what we're seeing here, all right? So if she's keeping them away, if it's your daughter's birthday, what did you plan on doing on your own that Mel ruined, Martell? What is it? What fictitious hypothetical event is it that you would have invited Mel to? Because you ain't told us yet. Anyway, and like I said, the narrative in our community for too long has been black women weaponizing the children against the father, and that's why they're absent, to the point where people have told that lie so much that now people think it's the truth. And the backflips black women do to avoid this, and what we're just watching a snippet of in terms of what Mel has done, has led to generational trauma and abuse. And I'm not just talking about physical abuse, the emotional abuse of not having the love of your parents in your life. And black women, it's not their responsibility to keep taking up for you despite it. Especially if you can say, well, what was you doing laying down with that man? You knew he wasn't this, you knew he wasn't that. Well, the same can go for you. What was you doing not wrapping it up and you knew you didn't want a family with this person? Okay, then. All right? And he has a bunch of weak-ass enablers around him. And he's full of shit. All right? So I don't know why people like Sheree think they're gonna be treated any differently if he's still trying to get back with Mel. What makes you think this relationship or just situationship or we're just dating or slash we're just having fun is something you want to be a part of? Do better. You've already been with a bastard like this before, Sheree. Anyway, so then we get another scene with Ugly Stormy and Courtney at the warehouse. So for somebody who is supposed to be a business person, Stormy, to consistently admit that the personal is tied to your business, that tells me you don't understand what you should be doing and understand how a business is going to have to continue. So she is talking to her cousin about being late. The way they address this is, the way they should have addressed this is actual listed, printed out timestamps of when somebody has clocked in and clocked out. Not explaining exactly the acts that are causing these work problems is what makes it vague and potential for a lawsuit. Okay, now do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. Stormy lacks character, so I imagine many people in her family do too. So you're talking about, oh well, I've caught you on your phone. Okay, did y'all document that? Is that written down on such and such date? So this way you can make it happen. Okay, you can say this is the such. Now I heard from somebody. That's bullshit. So Stormy, like, miss us with this shit. This idea of coming from a place of love and concern is trash. Okay, you fired your cousin on TV. I hope it was worth embarrassing him for, because he definitely seemed like not shocked, and it just looks bad. Next, I don't like y'all. So Mel's kids have the skate party that she paid for and set up. Emphasis on she paid for and set up. Martell shows up to his kids' party without an invite, but nevertheless where a camera crew would be, for a private party Mel has set up. Now Mel, in an attempt not to bring her kids into it, Martell just walks inside like he was invited, and she asks Martell in the nicest and most polite way she probably could, for her and Martell to step outside so they can talk. Martell had the nerve to be in a confessional and say, the thinking going through my mind was, what the hell does Mel want to talk about right now? I mean, what could she possibly talk about? I said, how you show up at a party that you heard about from Marceau and then say you don't know why your ex-wife is asking that you walk outside knowing all the tension between y'all? Cut it out. Okay? So she was clear. She said, this is a party I'm throwing for my daughter. When she said that, I wanted to die. I wanted to die. Black people kill me when they start saying stuff like that. For my daughters. like they don't share these kids. Okay? And she said, you throw one for yours. Like, she said, when was the last time you threw a party for any of your kids since I left you? I was like, oh, make them explain it, honey. Make them explain it, okay? And he's sitting there smirking and laughing as she said this. And when she was like, I need you to remove yourself. And he's just like, whatever. This is exactly what Martell wanted. To get Melody upset and hurt her like a typical narcissist, okay? And you know what, Mel? You gave it to him. But in the words of Missy Elliott, I got what you want. I got what you need. And sometimes, fuck it, I don't care about going around a narcissist emotions and stuff like that. Sometimes you need that just for you to feel better, and that's okay. Anyway, so Mel started going up. Let me tell you, when I died when Mel had clearly memorized Alabama state law and repeating that the odd years belong to the mother for the birthday. I was like, first of all, only in the deep south, because Georgia would come up with something like that too. Anyway, she said, you can still get your daughter later on today, even though I don't have to let you have them. So apparently one daughter must be on the odd year and another daughter must be on the even year. Because the way she was talking, she was twisting. Sometimes it was daughters and it was daughters. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe he has the right to one. I don't know. Anyway, she said, even though I don't have to let you have them. I said, okay. But you know, people in the South don't always pronounce their S's. All right, so he said, well, last year you had them on an even day. And Mel said you were invited. My thing is, Martell. Okay, let's just say she did. If it was that deep for you, you would have taken those kids and the law would have backed you up. You only want those kids in an attempt to hurt Mel. And that's the sick part, because your kids should come first. So then you start yelling like a whole ass bitch at Mel's mother. Was it her business? Sort of. Okay, it's her daughter, her grandkids, and she was invited. And you have done a ton to hurt her daughter. She wasn't giving you the energy that you were giving her, where you were yelling at her in a high pitch like a girl. Take your punk ass on. So Mel said, don't have me have the police escort you out this private event. He was like, call him. I don't care. He said, well, this has been her game for a while. She's called the police multiple times, and every time it's gone in my favor. And said, that should tell you a lot. I was like, yeah, it does. It tells me what I know and what I grew up with in a state like Georgia in the deep south, and notice where men are believed and women aren't, especially in domestic disputes. A woman has to have a whole ass black and blue eye for them to take a man to jail when she says she's been abused. So I can only imagine. So the fact that it's gone in your favor, sir, does it? Yes. What that tells me is things haven't changed. Anyway, so then they show Tisha sitting down with Mel at the party. And it just skipped. You gotta really give Mel credit for the way she can. She sat right back down because he left. Martell, you are scared of the police. That's why you got your ass in that car. So Kiki said, well, she was surprised to see her and Tisha together. And Mel said, well, I'm surprised to see you and Tisha together. Mel turned that shit back on the Mel. You are slick. Ooh, girl, you slick. And Mel is talking about how they're going to have a high tea that she had talked to Kiki about with a communication specialist. And Kiki was like, yes, in order to have respectful communication, I have to feel respected. And Mel basically had them kind of having that weird tension back and forth to keep that attention off of her. Mel went back in and handled that party like that fight never happened. And they sung happy birthday to the babies. And there we go. These people are such a mess. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all soon. I hope y'all have a great week. Bye.